back again. You're still watching us here on the Daily Debate. Once again, I'd like to welcome very much my guests joining me here today to talk about the Egyptian current education system. Dr. Abdelghani Elimam, professor at California State University on my left, and Dr. Salah Obayya, former president of Zewail University. Thank you once again. Thank you for your patience. We are talking about the Egyptian education system, but we want to talk about it from a different perspective. We want to talk about what are the major steps that have been taken in Egypt with regard to this field during the past 2 years specifically. And I don't know who would like to start, please. It's the same question to both of you, because you both, I mean, we do know, of course, Dr. Salah, you've been running a very prestigious university. It's very specified in scientific research. You've also been honored by the president on the Science Day. And Dr. Abdelghani, you are also a very prominent professor who's been in and out of Egypt working in the US. So I would want to know from both of you how you see the Egyptian education system today. Dr. Salah, please.
And thank you very much at the beginning for hosting me today and giving me this prestigious opportunity to talk to Egyptian people and people in international level in general about the education system in Egypt and the renaissance really seen by scientific research and higher education in particular, because this is the area dear and near to my heart in Egypt. And actually for Zewail city I spent about 15 years in UK, and I got the highest academic position in UK higher education system, which chair professor in a number of universities there. And the reason I'm saying this because I would like to bring some sort of comparison between the advancements that happened over the past 5-6 years in Egyptian higher education and scientific research and those happening elsewhere in first-class world. Let me start with the most recent initiatives that are leading now to opening up new universities. And these are not just new universities like new buildings and new campuses and curriculum and research programs, but it's a new university in the sense it's a future-looking universities and what we call it now fourth generation of universities or a new generation of universities. Traditionally, universities in the 19th century was called the Church of Academics. People who are getting together with a very important message and mission, which is educating the society living around such university. In 20th century, we started to see a new generation of universities, particularly in US and Europe, which is research universities. Besides the educational mission, these universities were focusing quite much on advancing new research programs that can materialize some development in certain fields, particularly around the Second World War and so on. What we have seen over the last 20-30 years in Japan, in US, in UK and Europe is new sort of universities, which, as I said, fourth generation of universities, which are trying to go the further mile. What I mean by the further mile here, how we can use our education and research in order to make a big impact on the society around these universities. And here is a point I would like to shed some light on. King Salman University, International Alamein University, Galala University, New Mansoura University, plus Egypt, Japan University of Science and Technology, of course, Zewail City of Science and Technology, Nile University. These are new bunch of universities that started to open up, and I am quite positive that such universities will not have just some impact on research and education, but will have a stronger impact on the society in general, in the sense its mission and vision will be implemented, and this will be seen by the achievements by the graduates from such universities.
Yes, Dr. Abdelghani, you've also been back and forth from the United States to Cairo teaching in both countries. And the thing is that I would also want to know from you, every year, what kind of change has been happening? Is it just in terms of aims and goals and visions? definitely not just building buildings, and definitely not human capacity, because we have a lot of prominent professors.
Sure.
We're talking about a system that needs to be changed.
Yes.
How far has it changed so far?
Well, I'm really impressed by the amount of change that took place and is taking place in the education system in Egypt. And one of the most important elements of the education system is to try to meet the requirement in Article 19 of the Egyptian Constitution, which basically says that every human being in Egypt has the right to proper education, and it also of a higher quality, and it builds its ability or the ability of the individual to function in the society in a positive and national manner. So if you were, okay, so Egypt has undertaken a major reform, educational reform project, and you know, the way I looked at it, it's actually, or it is designed to take care of or to cover 4 major aspects. Okay, they looked at redesigning curriculums and changing the way they deliver the material. They looked at initiating the Japanese schools. They looked at enhancing the vocational and technical training, technical schools. Another issue they dealt with is the change in the secondary school system, which is really the problem on most Egyptian houses. You know, I have my daughter and my son who got the secondary school certificate, and now I need
it's
to place
emergency
him
at home.
somewhere. Yeah, so
it's an emergency at home.
State of emergency.
Yeah, and one of the most impressive approaches that I am really happy with is that they are actually, we all know that you will never have good education without excellent teachers. And I see Egypt has taken some steps to retrain and rehabilitate teachers, and also changing the way we select teachers. Because what we want to do, we want to, number one, we need teachers who are willing to teach others. Teachers who are enjoy dealing with people, and teachers who are logical and available to teach in a very effective manner. Okay, so one of the major functions of the program is to retrain teachers and also hire teachers or attract individuals who are interested in teaching.
Yes. Now, we must differentiate here 2 things. The university level, plus research and science.
And the pre-university.
And the pre-university
Sure.
level. And we have to also admit that our main challenge today is the pre-university level.
Yes.
Right?
Yes.
Now,
Both of them actually. No,
Both
not
of
just
them.
the
yes, but let's to be very fair enough. I mean, you're professors, you would know that. We're not doing so bad in the university level, but we are lagging a little bit back in the pre-university level. And I'll tell you why now.
You might be right, yeah.
There is a
Yeah.
big difference between private and public education here. And along with that goes all the list of challenges, right?
Yeah.
Now, you talked about training now, Dr. Abdelghani. Maybe let's start with that, training the staff to be fit for teaching. Now, in private schools, what they do, they continuously train staff. They place them in the place or the year that they should be in, right? When they talk to parents, they talk about behavior upgrading before education of a student. We don't see that in
We
public
don't see
schools.
that.
in public
We
schools.
don't see that in public
Public
schools.
school.
What do you think is the most appropriate plan that should be applied? I'd like you both to answer that.
Pardon me, we had it.
We had
I
it.
went through it when I was in Mansoura, Malik al-Kamil Secondary School. Okay, and I had teachers who were really involved, and they were available, and they were high quality. So when we think about what happened in Egypt,
During the past
in
20,
our
30 years,
days,
possibly, yeah.
yeah, in our
Yeah.
days, the student who was not good enough to join the public school would go to a private school. Nowadays, we see a reverse.
That's exactly it, yes.
Yes.
And you don't have probably hundreds of students at that class,
yeah,
right? You're
yeah.
probably, what, 15
No, we didn't.
students?
No, we were about 30.
30. Well, they're probably
30.
around 100 and plus right now.
Yeah, yeah.
Yes, so we will talk about that. What's your take on that, Dr. Salah? Because you seem to have some kind of idea you'd like to share.
Yes, I think we have to be fair when we are drawing some comparison between public and private schools, not just now, but as rightly said by Dr. Abdelghani, in the past, I mean in my days and Dr. Abdelghani days, when we were receiving very good level of education in our public school. The number of students is a major factor that we have to stress on.
That's why I said it's 100 plus now.
The number of students, and there is some solution that we can suggest in order to take this problem forward.
Yeah.
I think in our old days, the capacity of students in any classroom does not exceed 30, 40 students. One lecturer or one teacher, very good, well-trained and well-equipped with state-of-the-art knowledge and very confident in his tools in delivery, will make the students very well satisfied with the courses they are receiving. What we can offer now is, and I think Minister Tariq Shawki is working on that quite actively, is in addition to the traditional delivery sort of mode, we have to use IT. I mean,
we talked about that before we went on air, right?
Yes. Yeah. I think making use of IT, and we have to admit, all of our youngsters now are very well tuned with the use of IT. WhatsApp,
2 years
Facebook,
old, he knows how to use everything
actually,
to do with the
not only well
mobiles.
tuned, but actually they enjoy it.
Yes.
So we have to make use of this.
Yes.
They are quite amused about new IT technologies, Facebook, social media, and so on, and also train both of them.
Yes.
I mean, the teachers and the students, how we can share, how can we share with the students the knowledge, courses, materials, and so on internet, and they have good access to it, then we can solve at least 80–90%
That's
of
why we
such a
said,
problem.
definitely, because also, building up on what Dr. Salah said, Dr. Abdelghani, you know, abroad, particularly in developed countries, everybody does their homework, their assignments and everything, even the curriculums are being posted online. You have like Google Classroom and so forth, right? Now, and why I want to mention this is because I want to integrate the fact, a very important factor, culture. We don't have the will to change our culture. So when the president spoke last Saturday at the 8th National Youth Conference, and he said, don't worry about your children, we're not going to sort of, you know, they're not going to be doomed with us. We are going in a path which is going to be very beneficial for their development. They seem to be resistant to change. People seem to be resistant to using technology as an ultimate substitute of books and papers and notes, right? And the exams and the quality of exams and the way posting. If we are going to be resistant, and I'm talking about we as the majority of the Egyptian public who are in public schools, nothing's going to happen. How do you, alongside with training teachers, alongside with planning with the government, train and talk to the parents about the importance of this change?
In fact, this is a point that I at one time mentioned to Dr. Tariq Shawki, the Minister of Education, that one of the major problems in Egypt that parents are not involved. We have on paper only the boards of parents, but these parents are not involved. Also, some of the parents, with all due respect, if they are involved, it's not good.
Yes.
Yeah, you know, when I compare, my children finished their pre-university school in the U.S. When I compare the degree of involvement of their mom, for example, my own family, okay, it was fantastic. You know, we are going to the point of helping the teacher collect the books, collect the homework, minimize the amount of load.
And it definitely changes the behavior of the child.
Yeah,
I mean,
changes
seriously.
the behavior, and also we interact with the school staff, including even the director of the school, and we have the ability to help them when there is a problem. Even sometimes in budget, we have shortage in this particular lab, okay, so parents will, you know, immediately will come up with the difference. So one of the major issues that we need to really make it effective is to involve parents, hopefully the right type of parents, because we do have lots of parents that themselves, they need some guidance.
Well, what's your take on that, Dr. Salah? Taking into consideration the epidemic that parents believe, well, that's your job.
Yeah.
That's your job as the government to educate and teach my children behavior, right? Well, it's not, right? How do you do that?
Well and good. If the parents are believing so much that this is the role of the government So let the government and the minister do their
job.
mission fully, and we have to judge on the experiment by the outcome, by the result. Unfortunately, and this is one of our major problems in Egypt, we start something and we are quite enthusiastic about it. And myself as a person and as an academic, I am one of the very highly supporter of Dr. Tariq Shawki's strategies in order to bring in some positive changes to our educational system. Then if the parents are really thinking this is a role of the government, okay, let the government do what they believe is right for their children. However, the main problem is parents actually, they judge the experiment before it is implemented on the ground. I think this problem will be solved with time. Let us all support the government and the strategies put by Dr. Tariq Shawki in order to, as I said, implement positive changes to our educational system that has been left unchanged for decades.
Yes.
And actually, he has so much troubles and problems to be sorted out in a very
resistant, and I believe resistant by the teachers themselves, trust me, before the parents.
I believe that the experiment will be very, very successful, and the outcome will convince everyone, including parents, that we have to support what's happening
now. Before we move to university level and scientific research, ending up this pre-university level, you spoke, both of you doctors, about the change of curriculum and the upgrading and development of curriculum. Changing the quality of education, integrating things like music and art and IT in educating children. And we see that again, and unfortunately, only in private schools. So for instance, if you have a child in a public school, he's not saying to his mom, well, Mom, what I've done today, I did art. She goes, what? I didn't send you to school to learn art. But hello, I mean, do you know that through arts, your child will really be able to create and enhance his knowledge in a number of things? Do you know that sitting on the computer is going to raise him awareness? Sitting and having critical thinking discussions. Critical thinking, you're too young for critical thinking. Again, in form of changing curriculum, how do you not only manage to go forward with your goal and plan, but also to ensure that it is implemented and not changed and postponed for the following year and in the year after that?
Well, I see that the program, the education program that was put by the ministry, does enhance the scientific content of the of the curriculum. So, and it enhances the digital and the quantification. One of the major problems that you find, students who have been through like 4th grade and they don't even know how to multiply two numbers. And the problem is we accept that someone says, I'm not good with numbers, So the emphasis that...
Or I memorize numbers.
Or memorize numbers.
So if I switch numbers around, I say, I know it's 0 plus 2, but 2 plus 0, I don't know what that is. Yes, I know that.
So the effort that's being done by the ministry is, number one, enhance the logical and scientific content of the curriculum, and also enhance the hands-on. There are many courses that were initiated by the Ministry of Education, is to have hands-on experiments and logical experiments. So they took away the requirement that you memorize material. And instead,
and exams, they changed the forms of exams.
And dump it into the exam.
And then forget it later, doesn't matter, right?
On, and it's useless for you. You cannot use it to do any skill or to master any skill. So they took that away and they decided to emphasize logic and understanding and scientific facts and so forth. And that's a good sign. And I hope we can continue and succeed in implementing it. Because, for example, the tablet, which is introduced, and the minister was attacked right and left by it. And it was
I know kids in foundation stage in private schools, they use the tablets. It's like there's no homework, there's no books, it's all online.
And it is all over the world.
Exactly.
It's all over the world, and it's only, we are thankful it's only started only in the first year of the secondary school.
Exactly, I was just going to say, it's foundation stage. You're talking about KG, is that what it's called?
Sure.
All right. So we do have a long way to go, but it's also important for us to say that it's a number of things that the community needs to get together to be able to raise off. Get out of your comfort zone, get to trust and depend on the government's goals, be willing to accommodate to change, because that's the only way it's going to happen, Otherwise, it's what. Now, Doctors, we are going to go out to another report, and then after that report, we're going to be shedding further light on higher education system and scientific research, because again, scientific research is another stage. It's the importance of focusing on research and what you can get out of research that will be directly beneficial and will help in improving the entire country in different fields. Right after this break.
Okay, hello.
Excuse me, right after this break.
Okay.
And you're still watching us here on the Daily Debate. Thank you again, doctors, for joining us. Now, the report that was just aired was talking about the importance of scientific research and higher education. Now, Dr. Salah, you have been honored by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi during the Scientific Day. And that was a very interesting event because not only is the honoring on itself special and unique, but the fact that the president and the government are keen to support scientific research in Egypt. Tell us about your experience, please.
I think it was a very good occasion to reflect a number of messages delivered by the state headed by President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi, not only to scientists and researchers, but to the community at large. Number one, I would like to say a few words at the beginning that I have been honored from different societies and different countries, US, UK, Europe, Africa, and so on. But actually, at this particular moment, a month ago, when President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi honored me with the State Award of Appreciation, it was one of the greatest moments in my career so far. The message I think that President Abdel Fattah el-Sisi would like to deliver quite strongly to young people, that when you work hard, you work sincerely for the benefit of your country, and you achieve something, you will be honored one day.
Yes.
And this will be really appreciated by the society and by the state. The second message, I think, which is equally important, is to the scientific community, which is in the heart of your question, that the scientific research is highly seen and recognized by the state and by Mr. Abdel Fattah el-Sisi himself, that this is the only way forward to develop Egypt in all sectors, right across from pre-university education we're talking about. You cannot really develop a pre-university education system that can achieve our goals and Egypt 2030 plan without scientific research. We have to study and plan quite well what we would like to educate our students. This is just an aspect of scientific research related to education. When it comes to economy, to agriculture, to water, health, environment, in all sectors you need, at the early stages, you need scientific research to shed light which way we will go in order to solve our problems and face our challenges. I think this is the second message, which is very important to be delivered to the scientific community in Egypt, that scientific research is recognized highly by Mr. President and by the state.
Yes, Dr. Abdelghani, also building up on scientific research question, same I've asked for Dr. Salah now. For years, scientific research has not been taken its credits and rights. We have seen brilliant research studies that could have helped resolve various problems on all levels in Egypt, but were not given much attention to. While on the other hand, we see countries which are exerting huge budgets of their the budget of the country directed to scientific research. So we've seen that change now, and maybe we see on media on a number of times scientific research has been taken by students and turned into a project or used to resolve a problem or face a challenge. That is something that has not been visibly noticeable in the society. How do you see that today?
I actually, hope that we see scientific research that helps solve the problems of Egypt. Okay, we are a country of 100 million people. We have more than 23 million pre-university students, and we have a lot more in the, we have a similar large number in the university, and all of these people could contribute to the improvement of economic conditions in Egypt. Egypt has a lot of interesting scientific challenges. I don't say problems, but challenges, okay?
I always like to use this. I even teach my son, don't say problems, say challenges. It makes you motivated to try to resolve it, right?
Challenge is a number of problems.
Yes.
You like to break it down.
Exactly.
Yes. Yeah, it's a more of a decent, nice word on your heart.
We are a beautiful country that has beautiful weather and beautiful sun. So, for example, how are we going to use solar energy everywhere? How are we going to try to substitute?
Of course, you have to make a research.
Yeah.
You do a research on every step you take on your daily life. People don't understand how important it is.
It's about making decisions.
Exactly.
Yeah, and you make decisions to make the most out of it. Okay, before we went on the air, you asked me about one of my specializations, and I said operations research. And Dr. Salah commented, is it operations or operational? And I said, in the UK, they call it...
That's very specific, you see, because the word can make a difference in its meaning.
And in the UK, they call it operational. He is correct, okay?
Well, we do understand the difference of ideologies in terms of education system between the UK and the US.
UK and, the US. So one of the major challenges that, the scientific research helped the UK to stand against the German attacks was through the development of operations research.
Definitely.
So similarly for us, in the...
And then it became a major, I believe.
Yeah, a field of study. And then, like if we look back in 1973, our war in 1973, it was because of scientific research.
Definitely. Unfortunately, our time is almost up, but I want to mention a couple of things. Just bringing up what came to my mind when Dr. Abdelghani spoke, merging and creating new schools. Now we do not need to have the ordinary names of schools. There's integration, MIS, Management Information System. There's an integration between computer science and marketing, for instance. So we're seeing, even in engineering, physics, even in medicine, we see that, and integration with use of technology is just infiltrated in everything. So we need to change the name of schools to be able to revolve and come up with new curriculums. How do you see that? Because we have universities here in Egypt that are specified for practical use.
Sure. I think when we are talking about merging disciplines together, we have to think quite clearly about the market needs and the society needs. And I would like to recall my experience when I was leading Zewail City of Science and Technology. And I just mentioned our admission system. We were not relying on just on the grades of the secondary school. We were relying on admission exam. And the admission exam, one of the very important components that we'd like to address and assess in the applicants is how he or she can behave in different situations. It's about logical reasoning. And this, of course, will reflect how much of the culture he gained through his education in pre-university education, how he is aware, she is aware about the different challenges he or she can face in daily life and so on. And I would like to bring up a very important point here, which is STEM-based school, science, technology, engineering, and mathematics. Actually, those students were amazing. In the admission exam we have conducted at Zewail City for several years, usually those students
are the ones who always get accepted.
The highest scores, and they landed on the top positions in our admission exam. So rightly you said, I think we have to make a big emphasis not only on traditional way of building curriculum, and not also, but also on how we can merge disciplines together in order to, at the end, gives these students the opportunity to be good citizens, fit for the market to land a good job, and also fit for the society needs.
Yes, to fit in society, basically, or in the world, if you might say. It's not about education and degree, and it's not about only education.
The human society, I meant.
Exactly, and that's how, of course, you develop the human citizen, because the people might not be aware, well, what is developing, or how does developing human or the citizen in Egypt have to do with education? It has a direct relation with education, because you don't have to just go into your major. And I think in university you'd know that you have general courses, you have electives, and then you have your major. And those general courses, psychology, philosophy, and not like, what's his name? And then after years and years, they discovered that he's not even right. What's his name? I forgot his name, that very famous philosopher. So, a psychologist, I mean. So what I'm trying to say is, through that you teach behavior, critical thinking, to be able to identify logical
and actually
analysis.
Even in our exam papers, we have to reflect these
of course, learning outcomes. Yes,
it's not about right and wrong answers. It's about right
How do you
answer
debate
and
it?
better answer. How we can compare between different
Definitely.
answers and choose the most appropriate one to this particular situation. It's not about just right and wrong, but it's about what is right and what is more right.
But then we have to be, from an objective perspective, also salute the fact that Egypt is still pioneering in education, particularly I'm talking about university level, whether it's public university like the prestigious Cairo University or the private. We have thousands of expatriates coming from around the world, different nationalities, queuing up to study here in Egypt, different fields, and maybe medicine ranks number one, as far as I believe. So again, giving credit to the fact that if you're going to compare yourself to the region or to the developing worlds, you are pioneering. But that's not your biggest goal. You want to reach the developed worlds. You want to be able to cope.
You want to compete on the highest level.
How do you see that, Dr.
You want to compete on the highest level, and I think the president has asked or has instructed the government to not to initiate a new university without partnership with major universities. And I think I remember he stated once that, okay, I want one of the top 50 universities.
Top 50 or 200 universities in the world.
To work with that. And really the challenge is great because we are seeing new jobs and new types of functions. There will be jobs that will disappear and new jobs that will appear.
Like my job, for instance, right? It'll be replaced by a robot. That's so interesting. Unfortunately, our time is up. The story and the challenge is still a long way through. I'm very honored and delighted to have you both joining me here, gentlemen, this evening. Dr. Salah Obayya, former president of Zewail University, also honored by President El-Sisi during the Science Day. Thank you very much for coming in. Dr. Abdelghani Elimam, professor at California State University. Thank you, of course, very much for joining me.
Thank you very much.
Good luck on your next trips, right?
Thank you.
No jet lags, okay. Thank you very much for watching, ladies and gentlemen. The top stories are coming up next. I'm Yasmin Bakir signing off. Thank you for watching.